time, breed-specific laws ban pit bulls and sometimes require them to be put down. We're going to play a game. You must choose the pit bull out of this group. Make sure you pick correctly because there's been a ban that has been placed and they will either be put down or relocated. So which one do you think is the pit bull?
I'd say the top right.
Alright, that's actually a Cane Corso, and it's actually a trick question because none of these are pit bulls. While they do resemble pit bull characteristics, this is one of the challenges of breed-specific legislation. It's really hard to identify and target which breeds are actually pit bulls. How many of you have a pet that you would consider to be part of your family? How would you feel if there was a law that banned your pet and your family had to relocate or you had to surrender your animal to animal services to be put down? As many of you know, I own one of these supposedly dangerous dogs. Does this look like a vicious beast to you? So what is breed-specific legislation? According to the ASPCA, it is any government law, rule, or regulation that applies to certain breeds or discriminates against certain breeds based on their characteristics. Breed-specific legislation can come in two different forms. Bans on restrictions are bans on dogs in a specified area that are identified and targeted and are subject to being killed by animal control and sometimes relocated. A breed-specific restriction would require the owner of a targeted breed to obey certain restrictions like muzzling the dog in public, spaying and neutering, holding liability insurance, or making the animal wear a vicious dog tag. This would also mean you would have to display a vicious dog sign outside your home. What are the arguments for BSL? According to Stephen Collier in his article, Breed-Specific Legislation in the Pit Bull Terrier, Are These Laws Justified? Breed-specific legislation comes from the need to protect the public from dangerous dog breeds because the breed has a record of biting or showing a high level of aggression towards people, or the breed has a potential to be dangerous based off its physical characteristics and its history of functional use. Functional use would be something like pit bulls were used for fighting, so that would be a functional use and that would make them dangerous. So where's the evidence to justify these bans on pit bulls specifically? There isn't any clear-cut data that can support these claims. Bite record data is often inaccurate and it does not reflect all dog bites because they're not always reported. According to Collier's article, that data is almost never collected in a way that would allow for accurate calculation of PAF, which is population attributable fraction. This measures the breed's impact on the overall population. According to an article by the American Veterinary Medical Association, in order to effectively eliminate the dog bite problem, there needs to be a community approach. There needs to be a community approach to solving the issue. One of the main components would be responsibility of owners. This means appropriate behavioral training and socialization of pets to ensure proper temperament before the dog meets people in public. Community education is another big component to implementing a safer alternative to BSL. Educating owners in the community, holding classes and seminars to inform people on how to handle dogs would be beneficial for everyone. Some alternatives for BSL. So according to BSL.org, StopBSL.org, studies have shown that dog owner mismanagement is frequently the cause of dog bites. Dogs are not properly socialized, trained, and are contained are often implicated in dog bites. The law should focus more on the owner's actions or lack thereof, on owner responsibility, and all owners are capable of and should be held responsible for safely controlling their dogs, regardless of the breed. Another issue, according to BSL.org, to achieve a safer and more humane community, abuse and dogfighting needs to be a primary concern of animal control and the police departments. Oftentimes, a media outlet will report on a dog attack, but will neglect to report the conditions that the dogs were kept in. So for example, if a dog escapes from a dog fighting ring and is traumatized and has been abused, it might encounter someone that might try to grab the dog, or it might not know the person, and it might bite them, and the news media will forget to mention that. When Michael Vick got busted for the dog fighting, there was a lot of different dogs that came out of that ring, and some of them were able to be rehabilitated and others were not. So when dogs come out of a dog fighting situation, it's not always that they're abused and they won't be able to ever be able to be in a good home again. It's just sometimes the abuse has gone too far, and those dogs that could not be rehabilitated are actually on a refuge right now. Children make up the majority of dog bite victims in the U.S. Much like fire and stranger safety taught to children in schools, dog safety should be taught as well. This could be taught through the school or through the child's medical care provider. Oftentimes, financial barriers keep owners from investing time and efforts into their dogs. Programs like low-cost spay-and-neuter programs, as well as low-cost behavioral training programs, would really help owners be able to take an investment in their dog and worry about their health and things like that. Irresponsible dog breeding can lead to temperament problems with puppies. Puppies need proper socialization and care at birth to ensure good behavior. It's also important that the breeders give these dogs into the right hands. Since they are puppies, they can't fend for themselves. Breeders should be doing background checks and things like that to ensure that these dogs aren't going to prior abusers or dog fighting rings as bait dogs, or to be grown up to use as a fighting dog. Simply killing or relocating doesn't solve a problem. Through community efforts, everyone can decrease dog bites, and pets can live happily with their owners regardless of breed. Breed-specific legislation needs to be stopped, and more reasonable alternatives need to be starting to be implemented today. Thank you.